Hello YouTube land, I'm Mike. I'm with Red Clover Guitars here in western North Carolina. I've been meaning to do a video for quite some time now, or start a set of videos on building guitars and what I've learned through my journey starting out years ago, and because I've been pretty much self-taught, and like many of you, watching videos and trying things out, the old trial and fail improve kind of method. So what I wanted to talk about today was this, the fretboard, and in particular cutting fret slots, and the journey that I've gone through many years trial and error, and searching for a bulletproof way to make them, and so forth. And so starting out at square one when I first started was the trusty fret slaw, like I'm sure many of you have. Still use it today on occasion for certain things. Has the little depth gauge in here that you set, and then usually some sort of a template with the appropriate fret scale for whatever instrument you're making, or you can do it mathematically, but we won't talk about that in this video. So forth. So basically, put it on your blank, center line, mark it out, pencil, and then grab the trusty saw and straight edge, and do your very best to stay in the slot. The problem that I had with it, number one, it was slow, it was tedious, and on occasion the saw would jump out of the slot and put a nasty mark in the fretboard. So I went searching for, said, okay, we got to try something new here. Try to make it more accurate, faster, and cleaner. So from there, I evolved to this. Let me grab it here. To this here. Now what this is this started out its life as one of those fret slotting jigs that you can get. You can get them from StewMac, you can buy them on eBay, Luther's Mercantile, I think, various other places. Now the problem that I had with it was it didn't do one-piece necks. So if I had a billet of maple, for instance, that I wanted to make a one-piece maple fret neck for a Strat style or a Tele style guitar, it couldn't accommodate that. So what I did is harvested some of the parts off of that original jig and made it so that it could handle multiple heights of whether I was going to do just a fingerboard blank or a one-piece neck. So see, it has down there, it has an indexing pin. I can't know if you can get it on camera. It's right there, and that is used with one of these, which is it's a fret gauge. For this, you can buy these just about anywhere, fairly cheap. And so these little slots fit into that pin with the fretboard attached to it. Then to move it, you can put your saw in there, adjust it to the specific height in there, and cut your slot, and then put it in the next slot, cut it, so forth, so on. Now, this method worked pretty good. Pretty good. I had used this for quite a while with success, and it worked pretty good. It worked pretty good. The only caveats to using something like that is making sure that you have the angle on the front and the back screws set correctly, so you're not sawing at an angle across your fretboard, making one side lower or higher, whichever the case may be, and that. So other than that, it worked fairly well. But then again, I got where it was tedious, and I wanted something different and faster and stuff. I don't make a whole lot of guitars, but when I go to make a fretboard, I want to do it quickly, and I want it accurate right off the bat. So now we'll move on to what I'm using now, and I'm totally comfortable with, and don't plan to change it. Don't even plan to even move it to a CNC. I do have a CNC, but I do not feel like programming in there. So this is what I'm using now. If I can get it in camera here, and move the camera back just a little bit. Okay, so what this is I got this from Rockler. This is their mini crosscut sled, I believe is what it's called. And so it kind of pre-came set up with a nice little bars and melamine things in there. Now what I had to do with this was, in here there was some sort of a blue plasticky plate that I didn't feel would work too well with this. So what I did was insert a piece of half inch MDF in here. So everything's nice and flat in there, and you have plenty of room to make sure you're all square and flat and so forth like that. Now on the other, what I did, as you can see, the holes in there behind this guard protects you from cutting your finger off, is that I took a drill bit that perfectly matches the little slot in here, so it's the same width as the slots in my gauge, and yours may differ in this. So I simply measured the height of my individual fret blanks right here, drilled a hole in there, as well as, see, way up here up top and in here for one piece necks that I'm going to do. So this works very similar. Let me put this back in here. It fits nice and snug in there. So there we go. There we go. So this works very similar to the way the other jig did, is that it uses that little drill bit to index this thing. All right. Now, from there, move the camera around here. From there, I put it on a table saw. Now this table saw was a I don't know, a piece of junk table saw I bought off of Craigslist or something for like 70 bucks. I took the wings off, didn't need those. This saw's only purpose in life is to cut fret slots. You know, obviously, if you have your table saw and change out blades is not a problem for you, that's perfectly fine. Obviously, I just didn't feel like always switching out blades and resetting the height and just dealing with that every time. So I just bought one That's its only purpose in life, and that's what I do. Now the sled just goes right over that blade, and you re-index in there. So that cuts some really accurate fret slots. Now, what you need to make sure of that when you do this is that your blank, that you have your blank, number one, you want it flat. Sand it off, plane it off, whichever you prefer. Make sure it's nice and smooth, as well as make sure you have a good flat line, a flat side on one of your sides here. So so with that being said, let me get set up and I will demonstrate how you get this done. Let me set up the camera for it. Okay, so what we will do is to grab our indexing gauge here and some double-sided tape, or however you choose to affix it to that. So what you have is you have your tape running along in here. Now from here you want to put it on a flat surface. Here what I have is a nice piece of flat granite that I know is flat. If you don't get it flat, if this thing angles a little bit from one side to the other, you're going to have real problems trying to keep that guitar in tune, right? So this, now with that, I simply lay both of them flat against this surface like this and simply attach it to that. So now this is attached to this and we are ready to cut. So let's get on with some cutting here. Get it where you can see the best you can. This might be a little loud. It's not the most quiet song. And we'll get that thing in there. There we go. Get that thing in there. Okay, let's get started here. Make sure that pin is all the way through. I didn't put it all the way through. There we go. Okay, we're ready. Okay, here we go. And we have a fingerboard with fret slots. It was that quick, that accurate. It's the way I like to do it. I should mention that the blade, I didn't talk about the blade, so let's talk about that just for a second. Turn this around here. Is the blade there that I'm using, this happens to be a StewMac, from StewMac fret slot cutting blade. They're rather pricey, but in my estimation, they're well worth it. Especially in a scenario where you have this, you have a dedicated saw of some sort, just dedicated solely to cutting fret slots. It's well worth it. The investment of $110 is worth it to me to have this. And I think you can get similar blades elsewhere. I think Luthier's Mercantile sells some as well. Yeah, but maybe there's some other thin curved blades out there that that will do just fine, and so forth. Turn this around. So that's the journey that of how I started to where I am today, and I'm totally happy with it. Like I said, I do have a CNC machine I use for certain things, cutting out pick guards, pickup rings, stuff like that. I just don't want to invest the time to program it to do this. This is easy. It doesn't take any time. Totally happy with the results, so I'm just not going to go there at this point. Not to say I won't ever, but this is just such an easy, reliable, accurate process that I plan to stick with this for quite a while. So I'm totally happy with it. So that's what I wanted to show today. If you have any questions or anything I failed to mention, because I was just talking off the cuff here, so just leave me a comment down below there, and I will. Got some other topics I want to talk about around guitar building that may be of use to some of you out there. In the meantime, hope your building goes well. Build something really cool and stay safe. Thanks, y'all.